everyone, I'm Spencer.
I'm Lara, and we're Married with Board Games.
We are, and we're also here to share our top 100 games of all time. In this video specifically, numbers 50 through 41.
Look at us, we're at the top half.
We are.
This is great.
It's all downhill from here.
Yes.
Except that makes it sound bad.
Right, yeah.
So we're still climbing.
Yeah, we're climbing the ladder, but you know what? You can look down, half of it's already done.
Yeah, so we've talked about 50 great games. We're going to talk about 50 more. But in this video, we're talking about the next 10. If you were curious as to how we came up with this list, you probably didn't watch our very first video in the series, numbers 100 through 91.
Right, so go and check that out because we actually detail for you how we compiled our combined top 100, which, I mean, our tastes vary a little bit.
They do.
So we did rank things a little differently and kind of had to average them out.
And compromise a little bit.
Right.
But they're still all great games.
Yes.
And we're still here to talk about them. So go watch it. Watch all the other videos. Come back here. Pause. Okay, now we can go.
And welcome back. All right, let's get this one started. Number 50, this is Seven Wonders from Repost Productions.
And yes, we ranked Seven Wonders higher, better than Seven Wonders Duel.
Yes.
Which, if you look at BGG and social media, feels like we're in the minority.
Yes.
A lot of people feel like Seven Wonders Duel is a superior game. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but we just feel like we enjoy the full game better.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
I like the interaction with everybody. I like the drafting, the actual drafting of the cards instead of that mahjong pyramid type thing. Yeah.
I think the pyramid is so much more frustrating.
Yes, it is.
Because you have your eye on a card, but you have to wait until those other ones that you don't want get moved.
Now, the duel is on our list. Yes, we enjoy the game, but and you might be surprised because it's a duel. It's perfect. It's for two players.
Right.
But if I'm going to pick one over the other.
There we go, surprising
yes. We're going to pick one or the other. We're going to pick the basic, the first edition.
Right. I really enjoy the theme. I love looking at all of the different civilizations. I think that's so cool. And the way that the sets collect, I really enjoy that. It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, of course. You have a statue, and you've got the temple with it too, and whatnot. I really like the way those coincide and go together.
I like the engine building aspect of it. The more cards you have of a certain kind. I like that you've got different directions you can go, because some people will lean more towards military and having more, to be able to win more of the battles or whatever. And
I kind of like trying to strike the right balance.
Well, that's the key to winning, obviously. But some people are like,
and I like to win.
Some people just like to wreak havoc on everybody, which is fine.
That's true too. That is like the war.
But I think just the fact that this has been in Target forever, this has been around for so long, and it hasn't even begun to decrease the MSRP speaks to the staying power of this game.
Oh, yes.
And so it's a really great one, an excellent introduction to drafting, wonderful, wonderful game.
And a wonderful introduction to the top 50.
Yes.
Look at that.
Perfect.
Seven Wonders.
At number 49, we promised more Pandemic. This is Pandemic Iberia. The most recent, at this point of filming this video, most recent spin-off of Pandemic.
Right.
I know they've got that Flood one, the Rising Tides one. I'm really excited about that one.
Yes.
But this one, talk about a good-looking game.
Oh my gosh, the production of it.
Everything, the artwork, the backs of the cards, the board.
The rule book?
The rule book.
Oh my god.
The insert.
I got so excited. Just looking through the rule book, I was going, oh, Spencer, look at this. It's lovely. It's
a good-looking game. What I really like about this one is that they took Pandemic, so it's still Pandemic, more so than Reign of Cthulhu is, but they set it in a different era.
Yes.
So you don't have the same technology that you do in the modern era.
Yes.
And how do you deal with those changes?
And it's still something I have so much trouble with from playing regular Pandemic and even Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
Yeah.
I'm still so stuck in those mindsets that I'm repeatedly having to tell myself, We can't cure this. We can't cure this.
Well, you can't eradicate it.
Eradicate. That's what I meant. I can't eradicate this.
You can't fly. You know, you have to build a train in order to travel quickly between.
Those trains are really cool.
Yeah.
The way that works, that's really neat. So that it's not just specifically one research station to another. You can stop at different stops.
Well, and I also like, so no, you can't travel, and no, you can't eradicate diseases, but they added something different that's more for the time period, and that's the treatment of water.
Yes.
You know, and so they did a great job of, like I said, taking it to a different time period. What would things be like? How was it like to deal with, you know, those Spanish flu or whatever.
Cholera.
Yeah, and so excellent. Again, we own all of these different versions of Pandemic, and happily so, because they're all enjoyable in each special way.
I will say, from the moment that they released that really nice trailer, remember that trailer? Yeah. It was so well done, artistically done. I mean, as theater majors, as actors, I appreciated it from that standpoint. And then the fact that they married that with hobby board gaming, I was in heaven watching that trailer. I absolutely loved it. I'm so glad we got it. And it's in our collection, and it's on our list at number 49. That's Pandemic Iberia. Number 48 on our list goes to Mission Red Planet 2nd Edition from Fantasy Flight Games. This has been a neat game to play. A lot of fun. Yeah. I like a lot of the mechanisms of this, specifically the playing your card down for player order.
Right, yeah. So you have those cards that have numbers on them, but they also have, you know, correlate to the specific
action that you'll be taking.
Right. That is, you know, corresponding thematically with the person, you know, whether it's the captain or whatever. And so I like that, you know, you can put down the card to go first, but you're not getting as powerful ability as someone that's going later.
Right.
And I really like that. I like the little ship things. You've got the little guys.
Those are super fun.
You put the ships down in the docking to launch to go to Mars, and then you're dispersing your little astronauts.
And I love the astronauts.
Yeah, onto the planet. So yeah, this is an area control. You want to have the most astronauts in each region of Mars.
Right, and it's so much fun. I love the artwork.
The artwork and the theme, you know, steampunk.
Yes,
steampunk Mars exploration.
Even as small as those astronauts are, you can still see the steampunk elements to it, because it kind of makes me think of like a diver costume.
Yeah, kind of.
Except that it's space, so I really feel like it fits that so well. I like that you can change the location of where a ship's going.
Yes. Yes,
that's pretty fun to do to some people.
It really is. And I also like that, you know, you've got those different, I think they're called discovery or exploration tiles or something that you don't necessarily know.
Oh, about like the resources that are in?
Yes. You don't know what's there until you get there in many cases. And sometimes, you know, somebody will place a card that will say like, place, you know, those special cards on there that'll say like, this region's essentially worthless at the end of the game. Or
the player with the second most amount of astronauts wins this many points.
And if I remember correctly, you have to do something, you know, to utilize an action or something to be able to look at those cards to see what it is. So you may be like, it's not worth my time to look at the card. But if you're trying to keep majority in there and you end up not winning at the end of the game, then yeah, it is. Right. So there are a lot of decisions to be made.
The only drawback for us is the ghost player whenever you play a two-player game.
You can play two-player, but there's a ghost player that you're going to have to manage yourself.
I will say there are other games that when they have a ghost player, it's a lot more cumbersome. This isn't horrible.
Right. To where if we wanted to, we could play it and it would be fine and still have a fun time.
Right.
But definitely prefer it. It shines at the higher player counts, for sure.
Definitely. And so we are really glad to have this one on our list at number 48, and that's Mission Red Planet 2nd Edition.
At number 47, it's going to get a little depressing here because we're going to talk about the Grizzled.
Yeah.
The Grizzled from, again, Simon, cool mini or not.
Unfortunately, it's kind of depressing on a couple of different fronts.
Because the artist that died got...
he was murdered. And I'm sorry.
Anyway, we like the game though.
Yes.
You got a small box cooperative game. Very challenging game.
Extremely.
To the point to where we never won until we got the expansion that kind of helps you set the difficulty level a little bit better.
True.
So definitely recommend that if you have the base game, you go for that expansion.
Oh, yeah.
Really gives you some variety there.
Also gives you a solo player variant that I have enjoyed.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's cool. I haven't played it yet.
It's really neat. It is quite challenging. But I kind of get to choose and balance out who gets hard knocks and whatnot in this game.
Oh, cool.
And but at the same time, you can get those 3 threats out there very quickly.
Well, okay,
in a solo game.
So you talk about the theme with this. I can't say, oh, it feels like you're in the war. I don't know what that's like, right?
Right.
But if I were to imagine, based on history, videos, or whatever that you've seen, it feels like it captures that very well because of, you're just playing cards. But what's on those cards, there's some things like, okay, here comes a mortar attack that you have to deal with, or, you're all trying to get your cards out of your hand, but you can't, there are restrictions on how you do that. And so, but you've got that. You've got a gas mask. You got
the whistle.
You've got the weather that you've got to deal with, and
this was a war that changed the world. It changed lives, and so that was it. That was pretty bold.
Yeah.
Of a topic to go for, of a theme to go for in a game.
Well, especially
bold, and I think they did an excellent job.
Especially in a game like this, because it's not just like this a board game where you're like maneuvering troops on the board. This is more of a thematic style game where it's like, okay, we're experiencing this together as a team in these horrors of war. But we still enjoy it, and it's not to say that that's to the point of we feel depressed when we play.
Right.
But it is difficult, and we really enjoy this one.
Definitely, and it well earned at this spot on our list, number 47. That's the Grizzled. At 46 on our list, probably no surprise to any of our podcast listeners that this is up here, and this is Bang the Dice game. I love this game.
Yeah, and this is another one that's great for large groups. It's very basic in its concept. You've got people with hidden roles, as far as which team you're on.
Unless you're the sheriff.
Unless you're the sheriff. But as far as which team you're on, and if you're on the sheriff's team, or if you're on the outlaw team, or the renegade team, who only cares about themselves. And then I like that everybody also, on top of that, has a character that has special ability, which really fun names, like There's
Rose Doolin.
Yeah, but a lot of them are like funny takes on classic, like Calamity Jane. There's some funny version of that in this game, and I like that. But what's your favorite part of the game? What are you doing?
Well, I mean, rolling dice.
Exactly.
I love to roll dice. I love that. I like the arrows.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool mechanic to include in there of how anybody with it has to take an arrow.
Yeah, well, and it's a push your luck element to an extent, too, to where, you can re-roll those arrows, but every time you roll an arrow, you've got to take an arrow. So do you roll, you stay where you're at, take what you got.
Same for going for the Gatling gun.
Yeah.
You've got to get that 3 of a kind.
But again, you've got that dynamite, too, because you could roll another dynamite and blow yourself up. So
that's terrible.
And, if you're a deputy, sometimes you'll get stuck, too, and accidentally having to shoot the sheriff. And you start singing a song.
Oh.
That I'm not going to sing.
Earworm.
But it's fun. I mean, this is great.
It's easily accessible. I think it's it's a good game for entry-level gamers.
Yep.
Easy to teach, and we really enjoy this one. That's Bang the Dice game.
At 45, I believe it's our first Renegade Games title.
I think you're right.
It's definitely not our last. But this is Clank, a deck-building adventure. We really enjoy, or at least I particularly enjoy deck-building games. I think I like them a little bit more than Lara, but she still enjoys them.
Yeah.
But what I really like about this one, and this is pretty much what anybody else will tell you, is that they took a deck-building mechanism, basic deck-building, but made a board game out of it. So it's
not just any board game, they made a dungeon crawler.
Yes, dungeon crawler with a little bit of push your luck in there.
A little bit?
Sorry.
Okay, there's a lot of push your luck in this game.
Right, but it's not just you're building your deck because you're attacking your opponent, right? or you're attacking some guy, some card across the table. No, you're using these to move through a dungeon. You're using these to, to go and pick up treasure. You're using these to fight these little monsters that show up.
And not so little monsters.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the aspect of, okay, you're making sound, you're adding more of your cubes to this bag.
Yes.
And
just waiting for when that dragon is going to come out, and you have to draw from the bag.
So this one's a lot of fun. Definitely recommend this one if you want something other than just an essentially deck building game. Takes it to the next level for sure. And that is Clank, a deck building adventure.
At 44, a game that, I kind of feel like it doesn't get talked about that much.
It doesn't, and people that play it really enjoy it, so I don't know what the deal is.
I don't know either.
Some games get hyped, some don't. Doesn't mean one's better than the other.
Anyway, this game is Jamaica. A really fun pirate ship racing game with just the lightest bit of program movement.
Yeah, kind of.
Right?
Yeah,
I think
essentially.
It could be the most entry level.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yep. You plan your actions and got to do them.
Yep. And then you may have to duel another pirate or whatnot. Really neat, great artwork.
Oh my.
Gorgeous artwork. Yeah. And I like that it uses actual historic pirates.
Yes, that is really cool. I like that.
For you to get to pick and play as. That's really neat.
What I like is I feel like that the racing and the moving and the action mechanism is pretty unique, whereas you have cards that have actions on one side or the other of them, but it's all based on the roll of these dice and where the active player places them. If they're for a night action or a day action, it's not just simply you're rolling dice to see how many spaces you move. It's, okay, so here's your dice roll. What's the best way out of your hand of cards to utilize that roll? And I love that because you have more options than just simply, here's my roll, this is what I got.
I would have to say sometimes you have less options.
Well, that's true.
Because some people might roll something really low.
Well, and
you are trying to acquire resources before you move because you have to have resources in order to be able to move because you have to pay food on some spots and money on other spots in order to move. And you might not have the resources to move, so you'll have cards or you've saved up some cards to be able to collect resources, and then somebody rolls a 1 and a 2. You ain't getting much, buddy.
Or the worst is when that happens and they'll roll like 2 1s, and the next person will roll 2 1s. That's happened on a couple occasions. There's like 3 or 4 people in a row will roll really low numbers. It's like, come on, please. But that's the ups and downs of games, right?
Also, it just makes my stomach drop, is I've raced and gotten to this treasure spot, and I draw my treasure, and it's cursed treasure. It's -7 to my final score. And then I'm like, somebody please duel me. Either take this treasure or I can give it to you.
Yeah. That's a great variety of treasures with special abilities, with just points, or...
Well, and you never know what's going to be in the deck because you remove some treasures at the beginning of the game and put them away in the box, so you don't know what exactly is there for you to dig up.
Yep. And we're super excited about the expansion. Looking forward to give that a try whenever it comes out.
Ready for that expansion. This is going to be really cool. But this is just a game that we think it needs more love.
Yes.
And so we're putting it on our list at number 44, and that's Jamaica.
At 43, this is a space intense, scary game. And that is Escape from the Aliens in Outer Space, probably the game with the longest title, too.
Possibly.
And this is from this is the Ultimate Edition from Osprey Games. Man, when I heard about this game, I heard about it on the Dice Tower, about who was it? It was Jorge Garcia was talking about it when he guest hosted on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no way.
And that's when I first heard about it, and so I went and tried the print and play.
Yeah, we immediately tried that print and play.
And thought it was amazing.
Yes.
And so we were like, okay, we got to have this Ultimate Edition. Which builds upon, I mean, it's essentially the same game, but the fact that you have those dry erase boards.
Well, in multiple maps.
Multiple maps.
Right there.
Yeah, you just erase, you can start over. You don't have to print it out every time. You got those cards. But yeah, there's a team of aliens, there's a team of humans. Everybody starts in the center of the map, or essentially the center, and the humans are trying to find the escape pods. It's a hidden movement game. You don't know who's who, at first.
Or where they are.
Or where they are until someone, like...
Somebody says, I attack in sector, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
And then you go, well, obviously you're an alien, and oh my gosh, I hope I'm not in that sector. I like when we get to play with, because, I mean, this is a game, again, that is easy to teach new players, but when we do that, we don't get to use the special... roles
or the items
and so when those games, when we do get to use those, oh man,
it's even better.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So you talk about games that get your heart racing, and definitely that happens with real-time games, right? Just because you're really working to this goal. There's no real-time element in this game yet. This is probably one of the games that has had my heart racing so high, especially as the human player. When you know that you have an alien right behind you and you're just 1 or 2 spaces away from that escape pod, you're like, can I feasibly throw them off my scent, or are they going to get me?
And then you get to the escape pod and you have to draw a card to see if that pod works or not. Yeah. You're basically setting off an alarm, letting everyone know where you are if it doesn't work. And oh man.
Yeah. So this is a lot of fun, a lot of tense moments. Yes. Everybody that we introduce this game to enjoys it, has a great time.
And it doesn't take too long.
No, either. And there's lots of variety with the different maps, all geared towards certain styles of play. Like if you want to be more strategic, lots of possibilities, or if you want a small, real cat and mouse style map.
Oh man.
So lots of options there. So we really feel like this is one that most people will enjoy. And if you have some hesitations about it, you can definitely check out that print and play. I think it's like $1. And of course you have to have a printer to be able to print it out. So I understand that some people might not have access to that. But try it out, have fun with it, and then realize that you're going to like it. And that's our recommendation for this one. So
definitely.
That's why it's at 43.
We go now from space.
Yes.
To Victorian England, namely Baker Street, beyond Baker Street, from Seaman game.
Beyond Baker Street. Sounds like it could be a space game, right?
But it's not.
Okay.
Anyway, this is a Sherlock Holmes themed game, which we really like Sherlock Holmes, which you'll see. We've got another game of the same theme on our list very soon. And anyway, this is one of the first games we've ever played that you have to face your cards away from you.
Yes.
And I will say that that's been the funniest thing. It was frustrating at first, but I think it's hilarious now. The thing about when you play this game and you have to draw a new card, of us constantly, especially when we play with new people, going, don't look at your card, 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 until they put it into their hand. That's been a lot of fun. But basically, you're a group of kind of like gumshoe investigators trying to solve a case before Sherlock.
You're different characters from the Conan Doyle stories.
That's true, yes, I forget about that.
Like you can even be
dealt roles.
You could be Toby, like the dog, or you could be Mrs. Hudson, or you could be Lestrade. But yeah, so you...
Or Irene Adler.
Exactly. And so you have different abilities, like lots of games these days.
Yes.
Based on your character. And yeah, you're trying to solve this case, and you do that by there are 3 different areas on this little board of a specific type of clue.
Yes.
That piece of evidence that you're looking for, whether it's a footprint or a document or...
a suspect.
Yeah, exactly. And they have different colors and different numbers, and you're all... As you lay cards down in these areas, you're trying to reach a certain number, but you don't want to bust either.
Yes.
But, again, you don't know what cards you have in your hand, so you want to lay it down, but you have to do that based on the clues your teammates give you.
Yes, your teammates are going to give you hints of what cards are in your hand and where. Something I do want to add about those characters, some of them have bad things.
Right, that is true.
Some of them have some real bad things.
Have restrictions.
Yeah, like you can't tell somebody that they have a blue card in their hand or whatnot. That can be pretty tough.
Right.
And telling your teammate what kind of card they have in their hand moves Sherlock closer
to solving the case.
So you have to be very judicious about what to tell your teammate and when.
Yeah.
And so it really depends on the luck of the draw. But you are also having to play cards to what's called the impossible, and you have to meet a certain number there before you can end the case. Yeah. There's a lot of factors, a lot of variables.
This is this kind of game. You've got to balance. Yeah, like this teeter-totter. Teeter-totter, you can't get so far ahead in one area but you're neglecting another. You got to keep them moving at just the right pace, just like this. And I like that. And this is also an excellent production. I like the color scheme on this.
I love it.
I like the artwork style. It's almost like pastel oil painting style with the different characters.
Yes. Well, and some of them are sketches, which I believe that's part of Conan Doyle's literature, is that he was a sketch artist too. He could draw, which, I mean, that was very common in Victorian England, that was a talent that a lot of men had, but he could sketch like suspects or whatnot, or it may have been Watson, one of them. And it's really, those are beautiful things to look at, and the board too itself. I love the way that looks. It looks like you're looking at clues and things that Sherlock would use to investigate, and I love that. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and this is one that we've really enjoyed added to player count. It's a lot harder.
Yes, because you have more cards in your hand.
And more things to remember.
So we'll be sitting there with our 6 cards, which card did you tell me was a 4? I can't remember now. Yes. Oh, that's the worst feeling, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
it is. So again, great. I think it's 2 to 4 players, and we've had a lot of fun playing it, just the 2 of us, but a lot of fun playing it with friends too.
Yes.
So a great addition to this list. That's Beyond Baker Street. And finally, for this list, at number 41, we're going to continue on with Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Yay!
With Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. Now, this is the newest edition that was put out by Asmodee, I think Space Cowboys. And I was really intimidated by this game at first.
Yes.
Because I was so concerned about that kind of free form.
It was so open-ended.
Here's your initial story. Here's what you're trying to solve. Now go. And you have that, you just go to these different locations around London and have these little, interrogate these people, suspects, or gain whatever.
Just conversations with people. And or you might go somewhere and you totally wasted your turn because there's no one home.
Well, and exactly. And then, you have... It's all basically just reading, right? There's no components, really. You've got a map and some old newspapers, which are really cool.
That's so neat.
And you've got these books of text. So, yeah, this is one I definitely wouldn't recommend with a large group of people because everybody's got to take turns reading, and some people read aloud better than others.
Yes.
And some people, you just tune out when you're listening to someone else read. So this one I think, is an excellent 2-player game.
Well, and the main thing is a huge part of the scoring is how many leads you use.
Right. Well,
and
yeah, that's a
if you're
good
playing
point
with a
too.
large group, it's very hard to get everyone to agree on a lead because you want to use as few leads as possible. And with a large group, you may use up so many leads.
Yes, I think I'm going to go this way.
There's no way with the scoring that you would have ever been in the ballpark and you're going to go negative.
Well, and you start to get frustrated. It's like, what are you thinking? That makes absolutely no sense at all.
That has nothing to do with what we're doing. We've already determined and ruled that out. Like, why are we going to the hairdresser?
But it's their turn. That's where we get to go. So
yeah, because that's how we've played. Is now you're the lead. You decide what we're doing next, and that can be.
It's tough though. Our first game that we played this, we didn't really understand the whole scoring system.
Right.
And we ended up with like negative 50 points.
we were just like, let's just go check out everybody.
Let's go here. So, but it's great. I like that. I do like that open-endedness of it, and you just have to. I feel
like a real investigator.
You really do. You got to pay attention to what's being said at those different locations, and you miss things so easily.
I mean, you have to really take notes. And really pay attention to clues. That's very important. We've never had to go back to Sherlock because you can go to Sherlock and ask for guidance.
Yeah.
We've never had to do that yet.
But we've also never gotten everything 100% correct either.
So true. And there's also a bit of a campaign element.
Yeah, the first 4 cases are, build off of each other.
Right. I believe you're kind of on the trail of Jack the Ripper. And so we aren't there yet. We've done the little standalones here so far, trying to ramp up the nerve to go after those cases. But man, what a great experience. And I agree. I like it playing the 2 of us.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so that's Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective.
Some great games there, if I do say so myself.
We've covered so many genres.
We have.
Just in this set alone. We've covered mystery. We've covered space. We've covered...
war.
We've covered...
I'm looking at our list.
Ship racing.
Some dungeon crawling.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Lots of fun there.
Lots of fun things to explore in board gaming in general.
Yes, and we've got lots more to explore. We still have 40 games left to talk about.
Yes.
And I'm getting excited, man. You know, I love all these games we talked about, but whoo-wee, my excitement about these next games are starting to ramp up.
Well, and just like we talked about in the last section of our list, it's starting to get tight.
Yeah.
With the way that we compiled our list, there are some ties that we're having to break, and it's starting to get
it's really hard.
3-way, 4-way ties that we're having to break.
Yeah.
And so it's getting pretty tight competition up here.
Yes. Meanwhile, we're also putting out some reviews too. So in the meantime, whenever we're not having one of these to watch, you can check out our reviews. You can check out our podcast. We share all of our content out on our social media channels. What are those, Lara?
Those are on Twitter at Married with BG, on Instagram at Married with BG, Facebook.com/MarriedWithBG, and there are links to all of those on our website, MarriedWithBG.com, where you can also find our blog and our podcast.
And if you want to send us a personal message, you can email us individually. You can email Lara at MarriedWithBG.com, Lara, or you can email me, Spencer, at MarriedWithBG.com. We hope to hear from you. Otherwise, wait and listen and watch for our next one coming next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.